actually playing Aiken in the film. We got together about a year and a half ago. We started working on it together. He gave me a draft, and then I read it, and then we sort of went through it a couple of different times. And then we actually raised some of the money on Kickstarter throughout the whole thing. But it's probably been a year now since we shot it, so about a year and a half for 20 minutes.
Yeah. You mentioned that this was one of your hardest roles ever played. Tell us about that.
It was pretty complex in the sense that.
Speak up.
Sure. I usually get told to be quiet, so that's nice. It was tough for me. It was tough on a physical level. It was tough emotionally, and Jake's a great writer, and the team of Jake and Nathan just sort of pushing me and never really, settling for me being lazy. Not that I would be, but a lot of times you just kind of get away with what you can. There's always things in the material that I kept finding in terms of the character and how complex she was, and it was just sort of a representation for me of society today, where women are handling many hats. They're running their family. They're the breadwinner. They're holding down jobs. Whether it's a single mother or, in this case, she has a family, but she's the one sort of wearing the pants. So for me, that was a little tough doing that kind of research, and looking to women in my life and sort of hearing what they go through and how being a mom and juggling a career sort of affects them.
What did you do to prepare for the role?
Basically that. My friend Kim Fowler, who's here, helped me out with some of the Army research, but also in talking to my girlfriends that are mothers, because I feel like no matter what you do, I'm not a mother, but I do have a lot of girlfriends that are. I feel like that's the hardest job for a woman still. So in talking to them and how they juggle the struggle between having a career and having a family, which I think, we haven't quite figured out, our generation yet. I feel like the women's movement's still pretty new for us, so we're sort of like, oh my God, I'm 30. What do I do with my career? What do I do with my life? What is this clock that's ticking? I'm not ready for a baby, and a lot of my girlfriends are going through that. So that was the most research I did. And I would call and text Nathan like in the middle of the night. I'd be like, I just don't understand. What in the psyche of a woman says, I'm going to go to the Army? Not him, not the husband. And then I'd call Jake and I'd say, Jake, why is she the one in the Army? Like, what is it? Why did you write that? And, between all of us, I think I drove everybody crazy.
She asked a lot of questions.
Good. And you as a director, how were you able to connect with your talent and make sure that the vision that you had would be clearly portrayed on the screen?
Well, we had a really difficult time finding somebody to play that character. Jake and I went through probably about 3 or 4 weeks worth of casting, about 50, 60 women. And then we got a casting company involved, and Danielle actually came in the first time. And we knew we wanted her in the beginning, and she wants to kill me, but we brought her back like 3 times.
Where was the shot?
We shot it in my hometown in Massachusetts. Yeah, which was kind of crazy, because I kind of came back and wanted to shoot there. Because, it deals with, a family that doesn't have a lot of money, and that the recession hit pretty hard. And where I'm from, that's exactly what happened. And it wasn't just, you kind of see it in the film, but it was more for the crew, more for the cast. Like, everywhere they drove, everybody they talked to, they were living it as they were there. So it was kind of nice to have it sort of like be a part of their life, because they were there for about a week, back there. So in that sense, but the other thing was, I spoke to a lot of women and a lot of men that were in the Army. That's a $30,000 a year job to go and protect all of us for $30,000 a year, and she's got a kid. To me, it was just sort of like, it's kind of ungratifying, to be honest. It's not like you want to get paid money, but your life's on the line for a lot of people who, don't even think we should be over there. I don't think we should be, but we are. So I support it. It is what it is. I can't make the decisions to do that. But, and we all did our research together. My producer, Sydney Fisher, has family over there. And when they came back, we sort of sat down, and my little sister knows someone who was actually over there. We kind of all in touch, and I gave you some numbers to talk to some people. But it's not just about that. It's mainly, you know, I found it to be a movie about someone. I found it to be a movie about, you know, all of us, and I'm not sure, you know, at some point in our lives, we have done something we're not really proud of, but we had to do it. You know, whatever it was. We said, okay, well, I'm going to do this, and maybe I'll tell my best friend, or maybe I'm not going to tell anybody. But it's going to get me through what I have to do. I know it's wrong, but in actuality, there's something about it that's right, because I need to keep living. And that's what intrigued me about the film. I think that sub-story is what's important. I'm not saying you should go in and do something awful, but, you know, at the same time, there are things we do that, you know, maybe we're not proud of, but at the end of the day, it's, you know, something we have to do to be able to survive. And that's what intrigued me about the project.
It's divine that you went back to your hometown to shoot it, and the film is here.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, that's right.
We were talking about that on the streets. It was like, we shot it there, and like, we're back here where you live here. It's so bizarre.
Good. What kind of budget did you have?
Well, we actually, the crazy thing about the whole project was Jay came to me with this film, and I had done a short film a year ago, and I just like, look, you know, I want to do a feature. It's the short film, they're great, but their life expectancy is very slim. You know, great that we can be in a festival like this and other festivals to be able to screen it to people that I'm glad to see faces I don't even know, you know, that can watch it. But, you know, we put it out there on Kickstarter.com, which is this place, and we had like a, you know, Jake and I did this intro. We talked about the movie and some stuff that I had done in the past, and the writers from As the World Turns, and we had all these incentives. If you were to pledge $50, you get a copy of the script signed by like us. I'm like, oh, wait, like, okay, great. You know what I mean? Like, or then you pledge $100, you get that and the DVD, and if you pledge $1,500, you get to come to the premiere in New York City, which we did. And
Super grassroots.
major grassroots, and we asked for a certain amount of money, and we got that within 3 days when we launched. What we came to find out is after we did the line out with everything is we needed a lot more money, and that's where our executive producer, Anthony Sweeney, who's sitting over here, kind of came in and has from the get-go of the movie up until now, and you're embarrassed, but has like been a huge part of the project to get done. I mean, you want to make a movie, it takes money to make the film, and you want to get into festivals, it takes money to submit to festivals. You know, but we've got people out here who actually, Manny and a couple of people who actually gave money through Kickstarter to make this film happen, and are here right now to watch it again.
And traveled.
From, yeah,
Not
exactly.
even sure where.
It's an interesting thing. I mean, it's like amazing. It's also like what Kevin Smith's doing with Red State. He said, all right, screw the production companies. I'm going to put this movie out. I'm going to shop it around myself. But we said, screw that too. And we're going to go through this social network to try to... I honestly thought when Jake said that, I was like, okay, dude, whatever. And 3 days he called me. It was in Barnes & Noble. He's like, we got all the money we need right now. At that point. And then I redid the budget. I was like, okay, yeah, we do, but, you know. And again...
It'll look better.
If we do this way, you know, it gets, you know, things happen. You go over budget, you know, and I come from a commercial background, and I know at the end of the day in post, you got to go to sound design. You got to go do ADR. We did like 3 days with the ADR with Danielle and Michael and Jake. And you have to like go back and do the color correcting. Making a movie is not cheap, you know, and you want to make something that's especially when you give your heart and soul to something, and people are coming in for next to nothing to make this movie, and you're getting people you don't even know that are giving you money to make this film. You know, I'm obligated to myself, to everyone else, and to people who sat here and watched it. That's 20 minutes isn't a bunch of bullshit. So I hope everybody liked it.
Manny, how did you? What brought you onto this project? How did you guys? Where's your position on this production, and how did you come to be where you're at, sitting here today?
It started out because they said Jake wrote the project, and I started out as a fan of Jake's. And then, so he announced that he was working on this project, and then he put it on Kickstarter and put it out there saying, hey, you know, I've got this project, I believe in it, I want you guys to help me and be part of it as well. So then I was like, of course I'm going to support Jake, but then, you know, he started announcing the cast. He announced, you know, that Danielle was in the cast, and in the promotion video we got to see Nathan. So, you know, I believed in Jake's work. I believe that he's a talented guy, and I knew that he would only choose the best people to be in it with him. So, and then he has a huge fan base, and then everybody else has a fan base. So then we all just get together and wanted to see make this film happen.
Very nice.
It's a really cool way to do. I honestly think, like, to be honest with you, I think more films, even